All right, so here's step one. I know that we need to do. I thought I could pull the oil drain plug out real quickly. Now, the thing I'm not certain on, so I'm going to figure this out with you. There's a bolt here. I wonder if this is the oil drain bolt, and then that's the fill bolt. Let's tell you what. Let's take that off real quickly, and let's see what's doing there. Just to be sure. That would be pretty convenient, wouldn't it? To not have to dump it over. But I don't know. Let's see. What size is that? Again, I've never had a need to do this, so this will be the first time that I've done change the oil on this. In the manual, the recommendation is that you change the oil at 50 hours. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so that's our drain bolt. You can tell. Wait, is that water or oil? That's oil. Cool. Okay. Well, that makes things nice. And so the first thing we need to do, though, I know this for a fact, is we need to pull the cover off of this thing. The lesson learned is try to get this thing off without taking the cover off, and jacked it up. So I have a new cover coming, so don't do that. Just take the extra 2 seconds and take the darn cover off. This is too big. And now also remember, I mean, my unit is, shoot, how old is this thing? 5 years old? So it still works just fine, but I'm glad I didn't sell it when I got the new one, because I've been using it quite a bit on different videos and figuring out what to do with the quick disconnects and everything to make everything work properly. All right, so there's our cover. That just allows us to get the plug. And this is the tricky part. So I think what I'll probably do is I might start carrying these, because these are not, this thing doesn't come off very easily. So, you know, it has a flat spot. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't twist off by hand. It's a plastic piece. So I think I'm probably going to get some more of them. But again, I'm figuring this out with you. So we should probably, I'm assuming we should remove this, so that we can dump it out the bottom and then add it back in. And so, I mean, you can use a big flat head, but it kind of mangles it. See, it doesn't work. So I would need an even bigger flat head. And so this is where I've been using channel locks. So maybe, I'm sure Dan will watch this. He can give me some heads up on how to do this. But this little plastic thing is on here pretty tightly. And this is where I mangled the cover. And so this is one of those things where I would decide I'm going to change the oil, and then I started jacking it up and I just said, screw it, I'm just going to leave it. That was a long time ago. And so don't do that to yours. So what I think we'll do, or a suggestion will be, just remove the cover, mangle this thing, and just buy an extra one. So I mean, this thing I don't think is very expensive, so I might just carry them in stock, and then when you need to change the oil, you can just buy another one of these. This is also our dipstick. And so I think these things take, I think it takes a quarter to half a quart. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the instructions here online just so that I read through them again. It's been a while. And so that's our fill, and then we have our drain, and that's basically how we get to it. There's freaking bugs everywhere. All right, so let's go to Kranzle USA. So I never keep the manuals on any of this stuff. It's all here. K1122, and view the manual. And the manuals are all German translated, so they're not so great. Oil change. First oil change should be carried out approximately 50 operating hours. After that, no further oil change will be necessary to perform an oil change for the life cycle of the high pressure cleaner. It becomes necessary if it becomes necessary during repairs or because the oil has grayish color, then the oil draining screw should be opened and the oil emptied into a container. The oil is to be caught in the reservoir and disposed of in an appropriate manner. New oil 0.25 liters of 5 or 15W40. Crap, I don't have 15W40. So, manual calls for a quarter liter of 15W40. I don't have any, but 5W40 should be sufficient. So if you want to follow the spec, use 15W40. I think in Florida, I don't have issues with super cold temps, and so 5W40 is a little thinner oil at low temps. So I think it'll be just fine in this. But you probably want to follow the manual. Don't follow my advice. Especially since mine doesn't get used as much as yours might because I have the big one. Probably should do this outside. But for lighting and video, I'm going to do it right here. All right. Probably a good thing that I'm changing this, because this looks super thick and gray. It looks relatively clean. All right, so here's our dipstick. The problem is you have to screw this thing in. I'm going to put exactly a quarter liter in here. It'll be really, really hard to get this thing off again and put it back on. So actually, if I get a new one of these, how the heck do we put it back on without mangling the crap out of it? If you guys have any suggestions on a tool that will allow us to clamp down on this without putting teeth in it and messing it up, that will be helpful for all of us. And then I'll share that in the future. All right, so we're all drained. Actually, I should get my drain bolt cleaned. Yeah, it's probably good that I changed this. It does say in the manual that if the oil turns gray, that you'll want to change it. And this is pretty gray looking. Looks like the bolt gathers up some of the junk. Just dump a little fresh oil in there. Cool how all my seals and everything, and this thing has never been cleaned or touched or anything other than used and put away. All my seals are all like new. There's a little magnet in here. All right, let's take this out for a second. Let's put our bolt back in. Yeah, now that I'm seeing this, I would suggest that you guys change the oil. Follow the directions. Don't follow my advice. Especially now that you're going to watch my video, it'll take you 5 minutes to do this. Dumping oil everywhere. Okay, so now I need a quarter liter. So how the heck am I going to do that? So if we're at 9, let's see where we're at flat. Actually, that'll work out perfectly. So if I go 9, from 9 to 8 is 1, from 8 to 7. So I'm going to go down to 7 on my thing, assuming that's reasonably accurate. Just nice and slowly. There's 1 1/4. Yep, that'll do it. One more little drop. Boom. So I wonder if you would think that logically that's all the further it would need to go in order to test it. But I think you have to screw it all the way in. And then that's the part that seems kind of counterproductive because it's tight. It doesn't tell you in the manual how to check it. And so I'm assuming we'd have to go and put this thing all the way back on, which mangles the crap out of it. There's got to be a better system to this. And so once I figure out the proper system, I'll let all you guys know. Okay, so that's in. So I guess what we got to do then is back it out and check it. I mean, this isn't very helpful. There's oil all over it, so they'll have too much or too little. Don't cross-thread plastic, Matt. So this will be good. You let me fall on the sword with mine, and then I'll tell you how to change it once I get it all figured out. Once somebody tells me a better tool to do with this. Alright, so that's a basic oil change. I'll get more particulars for you guys as I'll talk to Kranzle and talk about recommendations about, you know, what's the best way to do that, with the making sure we're not messing up the plug. And so I'll share this video with them, and then they can instruct me on, you know, maybe a better, more efficient and better way to do it. But you want to use 15W40 on the 1122, and you want a 1/4 liter of it, and you're supposed to do it at 50 hours. And so for most of us, I mean, that's going to be, let's say that you used it for an hour. Yes, you're not even using it for an hour total, 30 minutes. So, I mean, that's going to be 100 car washes roughly. And so if you're doing a wash every week, you know, even then, so if you're doing a wash every week of, yeah, let's just say you're averaging a wash every week because you have 2 cars, and you know, and so that means, you know, it's going to be 2 years before you probably even need to change the oil. So, I mean, I guess it's not something that you need to do right away. Unless you're going to use it for something like cleaning the deck or something, which isn't a really good machine to do with. But anyway, that's how you change the oil, and I'll get some more specifics for you as I learn them. Thanks for watching. what happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor. Foot to the floor.